Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again with the Festival Legends tier list, not a card review, a tier list. Every single expansion, once everything's out, we always do usually tier lists on legendary. Sometimes we did colossals before, but we're gonna go over all the legendary spells and minions, rated them from S through F, S being amazing, auto include, F being awful. I thought about naming it the warrior tier, but we're picking on warrior way too much as it is. Plus, I might not rate them F. You have to wait and see. And I want to announce our giveaway winners. You guys are insane. You guys are actually crazy. We hit over 67,000 subscribers, meaning we're giving away 5 mega bundles to all these winners. 5 out of my pocket, as well as 2 regular pre-orders to these winners. They've all been messaged. If I don't hear back from them, I will pick new winners. So stay tuned in case, they don't get back to me. But I just have to thank all of you for all the insane support. This was my best reveal season ever in terms of views and engagement. It was amazing. There's going to be more giveaways. I currently have one on Twitter right now, courtesy of Play Hearthstone. 2 standard bundles. You can enter that one on Twitter. I will be giving away mega bundles over on Twitch during the Theory Crafting event, which I will be a part of. I'll give you guys a notice the day of April 5th when that's going live. But yes, I will be doing that. And we're going to have a giveaway for the rewards track whenever that is announced. That'll be here on YouTube for you guys. So there's going to be plenty more in case you missed out. I try and get back as much as I can. There's only so much of me and so many of you. But again, thank you so much. And another reminder, we are on the road to 69,420 subs. We're getting pretty damn close, which would awfully be nice. Anyways, let's start rating some cards. It's all the legendary cards. If you want to fill out this tier list yourself to see how you agree, disagree, want to share it and all of that, it is in the link in the description below. And well, let's start off with everybody's favorite class, Warrior, Black Rock and Roll, a 5 mana fire spell. Give all minions in your deck attack and health equal to their cost. So let's say we have Boulder Fist Ogre in our deck. We play this spell. Boulder Fist goes from a card with good stats for the cost to all of a sudden he gets +6/+6 and has absurd stats for the cost. I do think this card's good. Like, if you can live after playing this, you're probably gonna win the game. If you're playing like a baby, like a Trench Stalker, for example, you're just gonna destroy your opponent. Like, it's +9/+9. It's absurd. The thing is, you have to survive, and Warrior lost a lot of its AoE tools, didn't get a lot of great stuff. You got the rifts to try and like get you there. Seems unlikely, but the card itself I don't think is that bad. I'm going to give it a B because it can outright steal games. I think it'll have a very high played win percentage. I just don't know if the deck will really be able to carry it there. We have Bounce Around featuring Garona, the rogue legendary spell. 3 mana, return all friendly minions to your hand. They cost 1 this turn. It's like Tenwu, except 1 mana more, all your minions. You can't Shadow Step this like Tenwu, but you can prep it. You can play it again with Shadow of Demise. There's some potential there. You could bounce big things like Astalor, like the 8 mana version, if you prep it, all sorts of absurdity. And you have like the refresh weapon. There's a lot of scary things with this card. I'm going to give it an A. I feel like it's going to break the game at some point, maybe not right away, but that miracle package wants to bounce stuff, and you can bounce a lot of that stuff or make a combo. It's absurd. I don't love it, but hey, I think it will be a good card. Next, we have Cagehead, a Deathlight legendary, double unholy, can't play it in Rainbow. It's an 8 mana 5/1, so Magma Rager stats, not so good for an 8-drop. However, Death Rattle, summon a 9/9 Blightbore with charge and taunt, and we have all these Death Rattle synergy cards where you can just all of a sudden murder your opponent with these boars, and I think it's got a shot, and I think you could even play this card in a deck that, just Construct Quarter and just destroy this, and you get a 9/9 with charge and taunt. It's super good. That's a third of your opponent's health effectively right there, and you get a giant threat and all of that. I'm giving this an A. I think it's very solid, and you can play it either just like, in like a mid-range deck, or build around it and go for a wombo combo. Next, we have the Climactic Necrotic Explosion, the 10 mana Rainbow Deathlight spell, Lifesteal. Deal 5 damage, summon 2 1/1 souls, randomly improved by his corpses you've spent. All 3 of these things, whether it's the damage, the summon amount, the stats, they all improve randomly and can get rather large, and you can target this damage phase, create a giant board, do some pretty gross stuff, but it's only going to Rainbow Decay, which hasn't quite worked out yet, but it feels like a pretty insane win condition that not only could kill your opponent, but also just heal you up and give you a huge board swing, kind of reminiscent of a Marogar, which is not present in any Rainbow deck. They don't have that big win con where this could be it. I'm going to give it a B. I'm not sold on it being amazing. Also, you cannot discover this or generate this card, just like the Rogue spell we just took a look at earlier. Those are the only two that are exempt from those rules. Next, we have DJ Mana Storm, 10 mana, 8/8 Mage Legendary. Set the cost of spells in your hand to 0. After you cast one, the others cost 1 more. So you play this, you could play any spell you want for 0 mana, and then it goes up from there from what's in your hand. The card seems like it could be powerful, but it's 10 mana, and there's not a lot of good big spells for Mage right now. The best you have is like, I think it's Arcane Defenders, the 8 mana spell that gives you taunts. There's no 9 mana spell. I guess you could Pyroblast, but that's not typically super effective. It's just like, I don't see the real support for this at the moment. After that, you only have Deathborn, and I just feel like you gotta get a big scam to play something like this, and I just don't see it. So I'm gonna give it a C for now. It's a card that could get a lot better as time goes on, but right now, I just don't see it. Next, we have the card we've already have access to, ETC Band Manager. You probably know how it works. Already neutral legendary. Basically, you get to sideboard, you get to discover a card that's not in your deck and pick a good tech card and all that. I think we've seen it play out pretty well. Feels like a B card. Goes into some decks, doesn't go into others. It doesn't feel amazing in anything, but it's good, and it's a solid card. I think that's a solid B so far. We have Going Down Swinging, a 5 mana legendary spell for Demon Hunter. Give your hero +2 attack and immune this turn, then attack each enemy minion. So this can like possibly clear an entire board. You can give yourself a bit of a buff and wipe the board. If you have lifesteal attached, you can do a lot of good stuff. I think it's a really solid card that most Demon Hunter decks that are playing like more of a mid-range, the big Demon Hunter strategy, just some survivability with this card. Again, not sold as something amazing, but I think it will see play, so I will give it a B. We have Heartbreaker Hedonist, the 4 mana 4/8 Priest Legendary. It deals 4 damage to itself. Then overheal, you deal 5 damage to a random enemy. So it becomes a 4/4. You then need to get it back up to a 4/8 and then heal it above that. Or you could heal it above, you could heal it for 5, right? And immediately get 5. There aren't a lot of great ways to repeat this in standard right now. You have the new location and a couple of healing cards, but overall, it feels very awkward. And I feel like this card needs to get a lot of uses out of it to make it worth running. So I'm gonna give it a C. And while there's like OTK shenanigans with like Radiant Elemental, a lot of cheap healing spells, but I really just don't see it in standard. So one that I think will get better over time, I just don't see the current support. We have Inventize the Maxitude, 2 mana mage spell, discover a spell, Finale, so you spend your last 2 mana on this, return this to your hand at end of turn, so you will be able to basically go infinite. It's kind of expensive-ish. It's not bad. It's infinite value as long as you get Finale. I feel like you're going to discover this a lot of times, like Vast Wisdom or School Teacher. You can discover this card and then roll with it. I don't know how much you hard run it, but again, it's not terrible. And like more of a grinder mage would definitely get a kick out of it, enjoy it. But 2 mana every turn just to get a spell, and you have to finish off with it. If you want to go infinite, it can make it rather awkward. I'll give it a low B. I think it could pop up in some decks, but it is relatively fringe. We have Inza, the 5 mana 5/5 Shaman Legendary Battlecry. For the rest of the game, your Overload cards cost 1 less. I think Overload Shaman looks legitimate. I think you're going to want to run this as a mass mana cheat. It also includes any cards you generate, so any created by cards that come in later. It's like an aura effect, right? It's not just your deck, not just your hand, it's everything. I think it's solid. We haven't seen Overload Shaman pop off since the quest was a thing, and that's rotating. Again, another B minion, but I do think it will see play. Next, we have Jive Insect, the 5 mana Shaman legendary spell. Transform a minion into Ragnaros the Fire Lord, Overload 2. So you can play Rag theoretically on turn 4 with the coin, or if you're able to cheat this out in any other way, That is insane to me. I know a lot of people are like, it's just 5 mana rag or 7 mana rag because you overload too, but you have overload synergies going on right now. Plus you're getting that rag out early. If you're playing any type of like a swarm deck, that's like, okay, they got to deal with all your other stuff. And then you have a Ragnaros. I think it's a solid card. You can create it by it as well. I'm going to give it an A. I don't think it's like S tier, but I do think it's really, really good. And I feel like it's being slept on until I'm completely wrong. We have Kangor, Dancing King, buy mana 3/3, Lifesteal, Paladin, Legendary Death Rattle. Swap this with a minion in your hand. From your hand to give it Lifesteal. So this card's only good if it dies, it swaps with something. Obviously you have to have enough minions in your hand to make it worth it. It just gets wrecked by silence, transform effects. It can be ignored. It doesn't have taunt. I feel like this whole hand, like big Paladin stuff is going to be a whiff. I really do. I feel like it's too slow. Paladin doesn't have great ways of destroying their own minions either, which usually is something you kind of want in these decks. I'm giving it a C. It's just too easy to ignore that stuff, and it's just a 3/3 at the end of the day. Yeah, I could give something big Lifesteal and do that again, but it's a large investment that could backfire horribly, especially you're slamming it down against aggro. It's like you're just going to blow up. We have Love Everlasting. Your first spell each turn costs 2 less. Lasts until you don't play a spell on your turn. I'm giving this straight up an S. I see it in Wild. It's insane with like Big Priest and all of that, but Control Priest decks will love it, especially with Sister Svalna. Getting that first shadow spell for 1 mana is great. But yeah, you play this and it just opens up so much flexibility for you. The downside is you have to have a spell to cast each turn, but you're playing Priest. That's usually pretty easy to accomplish because you usually want to play spells, and you can play like, I don't know, Identity Theft for 1 mana and steal a bunch of value and just go from there. I think it's an auto-include high roll card, and maybe even Shadow Priests like put it in their ETC just to get that mana cheat too. You never know. We have the MC Blingtron, a 5 mana 3/4 mech. Battlecry, both players equip 1/2 microphones. Your opponent increases all damage they take by 1. It's important to note, Blingtron doesn't amplify the damage. The weapon your opponent will equip. The broken mic is it. So if they can get rid of it, they don't take the damage, but you get to proactively play it, get that extra damage like a Void Touch to Tenant right away, and you could combo this, where if you have like the refresh weapon, you play Blingtron, it breaks that weapon, you have, I don't know, 10 mana, you play Astalor, they take 1 billion damage. I see combo potential. I see just swarm potential for aggro decks. I rated this, I believe, a 3. I'm bumping this up to an A. I've gotten a lot higher on this card. It seems very annoying, and it's going to kill a lot of people. It looks really, really strong, and a lot of classes won't be able to break that weapon right away. Might not have their own weapon to break it, so look out for that. We have Mr. Mukla, a 6 mana 10/10 beast for Hunter. Rush, Battlecry, fill your opponent's hand with bananas, so you're basically guaranteed to mill them. You get a 6 mana 10/10 Rush beast that they have to deal with because it's a freaking 10/10, and you're filling their hand with bananas that are probably gonna be pretty hard to get rid of at that point in the game, especially if you're playing like a mid-range deck, you're fighting for board. I think this card's incredible. I think it sees play in a ton of Hunter decks, whether it's Big Beast Hunter, a mid-range Hunter, even an aggressive Hunter. I'm giving it an S. I think this goes into a lot of Hunter decks going forward. Just the mill component alone can be frustrating enough. I don't think that's like the most important thing or anything, but yeah, I think it can be really, really good. We have Photographer Fizzle, a 3 mana 3/3 neutral legendary. Battlecry, take a snapshot of your current hand and shuffle it into your deck. It's like a 2 mana spell, the snapshot, that copies your hand. It's not like Dead Man's, which shuffles your whole deck, but still, it's insane value in a game where value doesn't matter a lot, but I do see this being played in like maybe a Control Priest deck, a Control Warlock deck maybe. I could see that happening where you just want more value, you want more cards, but it's a very low B, similar to like the Mage infinite value. I just don't see that being super relevant. Next we have Posic Audio Engineer, 4 mana 5/4. Battlecry, add 2 3/3 bots to your opponent's hand. Death Rattle, summon them for yourself. They are 3 mana 3/3 mechs or bots that your opponent can basically never afford to play because they're 3 mana 3/3s. So this most of the time will be a 4 mana 5/4 Death Rattle, summon a 6/6. I think any aggressive deck just runs this. I think it's incredible. It's super annoying. You can again mill your opponent, all that kind of thing, and the way to get the downside to go away of the 3/3s, they have to play the mechs, which is so expensive that they're never going to want to do that, where you're just going to get a lot of stats. So any deck that wants to vomit stats, just plays this card. It is, I think, absurdly good. I maybe I'm overrating it, but I feel like it's auto include in any aggro-ish deck and a lot of mid-range decks. I just could really see it being super annoying. We have Rhythm and Roots, a 4-mana nature spell where you get to choose one secretly. This is for Druid. You summon either 3 5/5 Ancients in 2 turns, so it's 4 mana, 15/15 in stats. It's pretty good. Or you get 3 8/8s in 4 turns. So you play this on 4, not till like turn 9 do you get these stats that, it's a lot of them. It's like 24/24, but against an aggressive deck, you're playing 4 mana, do nothing for a long time. And I feel like the 5/5s will probably be the best option. It's the only possible option, but I feel like this card is just too slow. It allows your opponent to prepare. None of these minions have taunt or rush. You got to give it to them, whether it be through the new 7-mana spell. I just feel like it's way too slow. It's my first F of this one. Not a warrior card, but I just don't see it being good enough. We have Rin, Orchestrator of Doom, the Warlock legendary. 5 mana, 3/6 taunt. Death Rattle. Both players draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, and destroy the top 2 cards of their deck. Really flavorful, really trollish. With all the cards we have seen in Standard, I don't see any really great reason to run this in Warlock other than just being a troll. You're probably going to screw yourself up as much as you're going to screw your opponent over. I'm giving it a low C. It has that fringe potential, but I don't see it being anything more than just a troll card, not being really super competitive, because most of your cards, you're going to want them too. You got a lot of good Warlock cards, and it's not helping you with the fatigue strategy or any of like the Warlock, the legendary spell. I think those are both really good. I think Rin is more of just a meme. Then we have Rockmaster Vood, the 4-mana warrior legendary battlecry. Copy each minion type in your hand. You're playing a 4-mana 4/3. That's terrible. You're getting some minion value in your hand. That's not great. Even if I play my legendary spell, I just want to slam minions, not copy them. It's an F for me. The original that copied dragons was not even that good, and that was like 5 years ago. This is even worse in a lot of ways. I just think it's bad. You have to have a bunch of cards in your hand to get it to be valid. It's just, to me, it's just a really bad card, and honestly just kind of a shame. Next we have Starlight Groove, the legendary spell for Paladin. 3 mana, give your hero Divine Shield for the rest of the game. Playing a holy spell refreshes it. I guess it could be good in like that Divine Shield Paladin, a Control Paladin, Pure Paladin. I don't see why not running this. You get a lot of defense out of it. It's a weird card to evaluate, but I'm gonna give it an A. I think it could slot into even aggressive builds because you can translate that Divine Shield into other things, like the 2-mana tradable spell and all that. So look out for this card. I think it could see play in multiple archetypes. Next we have Stranglethorn Heart, the 10-mana tradable legendary hunter spell. Resurrect all friendly beasts that cost 5 or more. So you could get like Mukla back. Can't get Mountain Bear back in Standard, but you can get like the Hydrolodon, the Colossal, a lot of big boys, and well, it's got tradable. So if it's in your opening hand, you can get rid of it and not worry about ruining things. I think Big Beast Hunter will be a good deck. It's the only deck that can really run this, but I think it will. I'll give it a low A, as I do think like that payoff of getting like some massive beast is a huge swing, and those decks have shown they can play more to the late game, running Astalor and things like that. We have Symphony of Sins, the 6-mana Warlock spell. Discover and play a movement, shuffle the other 6 into your deck. You have the 7 deadly sins. They censored lust for some reason. Come on. But regardless, you get to mill cards, make a taunt, get lifesteal, AoE, mana cheat, everything in one card. It can go to multiple archetypes, in my opinion. I love it. It's incredible. Is it S? I don't know, but it gets an S from me because I'm just in love with the card. I'm crafting it golden. I'm playing it, and I just hope it's not completely terrible because I absolutely love it. We have the 1 Amalgam Band, a 7-mana 6/6 legendary. It's got the all on it. Battlecry, gain a random bonus effect for each minion type you play this game. It could be like Divine Shield, Rush, Wind Fury, Taunt, all these different things. I guess this is a warrior card because warrior got all the menagerie stuff, and like it's their best payoff card. I'm gonna put it with the legendary spell. I think it's decent in those type of decks. You get all those keywords, and I guess you could copy it with Voon, but please don't. But yeah, I think it's a card that could get stronger over time when more tribal minions are in the game, and I don't think it's bad. Just don't play it in Wild where it can get get like freaking hungry crabbed and die for absolutely nothing. We have Tony, the king of piracy, neutral legendary, 5-mana 4/6 pirate. Both players' decks are swapped. Finale, draw a card. Again, more potential in warrior. You play this, Fires of Zinajari, and then Steam Cleaner. You can make your opponent fatigue, right? You'll delete their deck after it's flipped back, because it's not a battle cry. It's as long as you know he's on the board, the decks are flipped. So the idea is you flip the decks, you play Fires, then once he dies, it flips back, you delete the deck, all of that. It's very slow, and then you still have to deal with their board and their threats, and Control Warrior got very little tools in that regard. I'm gonna give it a B because these type of cards always see play at some point for the reason I just stated. It always happens in Wild. You can do like Explore and Goro and Geist. Look out, this card can be rather toxic. And last, we have Zok Fog Snout, the 7-mana 6/6 Quillbore for Druid. Battlecry, summon 2/1/1 Quillbores with Taunt, improved by your hero attack and armor, gain this turn. I was wrong about this. Say you gain 10 armor, that means you gain 10 health. Gain 10 attack, then the minions gain 10 attack. So you really want to double it up with your hero power. Really expensive. You really got to set it up. Maybe you got Tour Guide to try and help you out there. But overall, I think it's rather awkward and clunky. And if you're playing that hero power Druid, you're just going to be killing them with your hero power and not a couple of big Quillbores. So I'll give it a low C. But overall, the legendaries, nothing too absolutely amazing. A lot of solid stuff to add to decks. And well, we'll see how wrong or right I am. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what you agree with, disagree with. Share your tier list and all that. And again, thank you guys all so much for the support. I hope you have a great day and stay salty, my friends.